Hello, everyone, and welcome to Maybe Muslim. I'm Mariyam Haider, and in this episode, I speak to Zoya, who identify as a they them with a she her vibe and defines themselves as a queer soul with the vibrant hues of a trans woman, embracing the diverse rhythms of life. In this conversation, Zoya shares their journey exploring gender fluidity and discusses how this exploration has enabled them to have more meaningful relationships. They also share their relationship with the Indian Muslim identity and the ways it shows up in their life. A DEI professional, Zoya sheds light on the challenges and opportunities present within the corporate spaces, the Supreme Court ruling that failed to grant same sex couples marriage rights in India, and the responsibilities of allies across the board. Finally, we talk about finding love and discuss the role of queer and minority representation in certain Hindi movies and the recent Amazon series Made in Heaven Season 2. This month, in which we observe Trans Awareness Week and Transgender Day of Remembrance, do give this episode a listen and share it with your loved ones. Hey Zoya, welcome to Maybe Muslim. It is such an honor and such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you for having me. Uh, this should have happened long back, is what I would say.
I think I'm just glad it's happening since the time we first met in
Yeah.
Bombay,
Yes.
and ever since then I've just been like, yeah, I need to catch up with you, but also have you on MBM. So I think it's a start of a journey, and thank you for being on this journey with me.
Thank you. And I loved hearing you at the GLF, by the way. That's why I think I ran behind you and to meet you, saying that, hey, Mariam. Uh, but yeah,
Thank you. But honestly, I think just that first interaction we had in Bombay at GLF, and you kind of shared a bit about your journey, but also in a way kind of inspired me to think about how has this identity, and we were just talking before this recording, the multiple intersectionality labels of sorts. But let's talk about one of the elements and aspects of your being, which is being a trans person. Can you talk a bit about that, and how has this journey been for you so far?
I think I call myself trans person. On my Instagram, you'll see gender fluid. Again, many labels associated with my own being. I still fall under the trans umbrella as a person. I haven't transitioned as such. I'm closeted in spaces and I'm open in some. That's why I use the word partially closeted. I have always tried to make spaces where I can be open. Um, if I have to start about or I think I started understanding my identity or started believing or I started at least experiencing my identity when I was something around 10 years or 12 years old. Okay. It started with me wearing my sister's dress at one point of time. From there to reading more about it because when you start doing something that's a taboo for the world outside there is a lot of हिंदी में वर्ड रहेगा कश्मकश and you're always in that thing in your body and in your mind that okay what's going on. There's a lot of guilt that also comes into it because you feel that oh I am wrong. uh, it takes a long time to come out to yourself before you come out to people, and I think that I would term as acknowledgement, and that acknowledgement is key to one first accepting oh this is who I am. I really can't fight this anymore, and if I keep fighting this it's just going to be traumatic. And I did spend quite a lot of that traumatic time, but to myself, not to anybody else. I wasn't open about it to anybody at that point of time. I remember at that time I was in school. I was even facing the whole piece of being a dyslexic student, going through getting concessions, not being a good performer in school. At one point of time, even my principal telling my mom that this person needs special school. They won't fit here. They won't perform well here. So all of that clubbed with a mismatched gender identity, also identifying sexuality as well because I did have a partner at that point of time. The when I mean a partner, you're just experimenting the school phase of adolescence, so all of this clubbed, I think, going to cyber cafes at that point of time were a big thing. Researching that, okay, are there people like me, or am I the only singled out unfortunate person in this world? And then realizing, nahi, hai काफी लोग ऐसे. From that, understanding more of identity, being more expressive about myself. Then leaving from school, coming into college, again meeting more folks like me. I met a lot of, there were these, what there was a, Facebook was pretty open at that point of time. It's not as a dead medium like it was now. There were a lot of these closed groups that existed, uh, and they were majorly cross dresser, was the term that was used. I never associated myself as a cross dresser because I never felt that I only dress differently from a piece. I never considered myself to doing art as drag as an art or something. It was me and my identity, or my expression of my identity more. But yeah, I met more people like this. From there on, we went to actually start going outside. I attended a Pride March in 2015. That was my first Pride March, and then helping people actually identify themselves. So we used to make these cross-dressing groups. We used to go and into a hotel, dress up, and then attend the Pride March, or attend say an outing or something. It's that whole journey of from the closet to starting to go out, and then in spaces again becoming more open. Then I started coming out to my colleagues in my previous organization where I joined. Then slowly opening it up to certain more pieces. Within the next organization I joined, it had a little more wider circle. Now the organization that I am, I'm open about my identity. This is my space that I've again put, like, conquered in some manner, and I'm passing it on to the other folks as well. The hope has always been that I don't let the journey becomes shorter for the others than it was for me, for coming out.
That's so wonderfully put. And in a way, you were also sharing a bit about how this has been a space for you that you are evolving through, but also helping others evolve through in a way, helping others come out, helping others accept and experience this journey. And I know you mentioned that there were different spaces that you have, you know, um, explored and also come out to. Can you talk about a bit of those spaces in your personal or social settings, and how has that experience been, and what, in a way, can a lot of listeners take from?
I think it's for social spaces. For me, the work has been a major chunk of my life, right? And I think social spaces, may I would say that it's been lesser in context, because I have made my environment of my colleagues also a social aspect of it. My colleagues and my teams and my earlier thing, we used to attend GAC parties, a lot of LGBTQ parties. My colleagues used to come along with me. There I have met. So I don't see a bifurcation there. I do see a compartmentalization in life, that okay, this is where I am not closeted, and this is where I'm closeted. But where I'm not closeted, I've made those friends and that group. And then there are spaces which are LGBTQ friendly where I have also attended. So I really can't differentiate which is a social, non-social. It's more closeted, non-closeted for me in my being, at least in that sense. Um, yeah. It is complex in that sense, is what I would say.
Zoya, you also are from a Muslim background. Would you talk a bit about how does that Muslim identity of yours plays into this journey and the experience of being a trans person?
So I would say I'm a person born in a Muslim family, is what my terminology would be, because I'm not a practicing Muslim. I have studied Islam in some senses. Uh, so I think again in some like an eighth standard or seventh standard, there was this question that popped into my head of purpose as to why I exist, existential problems in school itself. From that time, I've been trying to understand, and that's when you move into a concept of understanding religion, because religion is a way of life to tell you what the purpose is in some form. Okay, I am a person who has actually read all the religious books in transliteration or translation. So I have read the Bhagavad Gita. I have read the the Bible, both Old Testament, New Testament by John as well, and the Quran. I have read some of the hadiths because the hadith is also variations in it, and it's not the word that you can read really well. Um, I my belief has been that as a Muslim, it is my identity because my parents followed that religion, and my legal name will still have whatever I have experienced because of that thing, and how people view me as a Muslim rather than how I view myself as a Muslim. If I have to ask how good a Muslim I am, I'm a very bad Muslim because I don't read namaz. I haven't. If you have to say rosas, I might have kept cumulatively 30 in my period of time. So extremely bad at practicing Islam. But if you ask me again, if I have to follow a religion or if I'm closer to it, I would say Islam has been the one that made the most sense to me. From a per se that it came to it was revealed to a place that was the most barbaric in spaces, and it got a lot of structure, and it spoke about marriage, it spoke about women rights. Yeah, how much ever people do question it, the time when it was launched or when it came into being, I felt was very progressive in its own senses. Also from an Abrahamic religion piece of it, when I look at it, uh, I understand if people say that the Bible was something that got was not by the God of word by the word of God of or it got uh, changed over a period of time. Similar for the Torah as well. So I understand the versions of it, but I cannot. I am not. I'm not in the position to say that this is the right version as well, because there have been many learnings from it or people's interpretations of Quran or interpretations of another religion as well. And hence, if you ask me if I have to make a choice to follow a religion, I will not be able to make that choice because I feel that information is missing. Yeah, or I have not been able to put that much energy to say that, oh, I can make this decision at the moment. So from an Islam perspective, but yeah, Muslim identity plays out very differently when you are in social circles, when you are in a political space, in a democratic country like India, where there is a majority and a minority. The play of Muslim as an identity plays out very differently. So yeah, I would split it Islam and Muslim slightly differently out here.
Yeah, and because I think you're very right about the fact that it plays out very differently in the settings that we find ourselves in. In one of
Yeah,
your previous pieces, that you kind of mentioned about looking for flats in Mumbai, and facing a
yeah.
certain degree of Islamophobia. Would you like to give a sense of how that experience played out?
It's been quite some time I've now gone house hunting because that period was a little traumatic. Not traumatic, it's just tiring. It's exhausting, if that's the right word. Uh, so when I was looking for houses, um, I like so you will look for a house where your workplace is. Okay, that's the piece of it. When you're renting, at least when you're buying, there are different pieces, and the whole investment as a criteria becomes very different. But when I was staying in Thane, which is again very Maharashtrian populated, okay, as a space, because my office was in Thane. When I started looking houses there, uh, the funny piece was the uh, the uniformity in bias. So every house that I went to, and they would ask me this one question in Marathi or something that तुमच्या आडनाव हे पण तुमच्या last name is this but your first name is this, because my last name is very, because I come from a place that's Konkan as a region, it is very Maharashtrian, and it doesn't sound Muslim or it doesn't sound Islamic. It's not a Qazi or it's not a or a Sheikh, and because in Konkan region you have these surnames, it always ends with a Kar, like how you have a Tendulkar or a Gavaskar. All of the people, whether Muslim or Hindu, they have these surnames, and hence they would be confused that what my identity is. Am I a Muslim or am I a Maharashtrian? What is this? And then they would be like, oh, you're Muslim. Then I know when they have said that, oh, I know that this house is not going to be coming to me. And that so that question was very similar. Like wherever houses I went, I got this particular question, and then I realized that whenever this question is coming, I'm not going to get this house. Then after a lot of hunting, I got. the piece, like I got a house, and then again when I was relooking from moving from Thane to the suburbs, where again my office changed. I looked at Andheri first because Andheri is a better air location. Then I did not get in Andheri, so I went to Goregaon, which is skipping one station, and that is Jogeshwari. Jogeshwari is a Muslim-dominated area. I went to Goregaon. I never got in Goregaon. I came a little ahead in Oshiwara. I didn't get in Oshiwara. I was forced to come in Jogeshwari to get, which is a Muslim ghetto. So yeah, I didn't. It's not that I did not want a Muslim ghetto. I'll tell you why Jogeshwari is not. I did not want Jogeshwari. It's not because I do not associate with a Muslim identity or something. It is because this is a Muslim ghetto. It has also been not been it has not developed the way that Nandheri or a Goregaon has because it's a Muslim ghetto. Unfortunately, I don't know why it's so. Enter into Jogeshwari, the footpaths become bad. There are no footpaths. And also, when you move out of Jogeshwari and enter into Goregaon, you'll see the road changes again. Look at Mumbai, you'll have high rises and then you'll have jhopdis. But the jhopdis are unfortunately needing to exist for these things to think. And I don't know how to break that thing. The whole poverty and the top thing, I don't know. I think the movie Gully Boy was so well depicted on the class thing, and uh, if I have to if I have to break it down to you in this way, I think they are all Bandra. So, when you look at a Bandra East and you look at a Bandra West, you will understand from the shift from Bantai to Bro, and that's the world that we live in currently.
As we are, I
Sorry.
mean, I'm a big fan of Gully Boy as well. I think
Yeah.
it's one of those films which kind of is best place to be, that for all of us to be the fly on the wall, that we are watching a film and
Yeah.
we all can understand the nuance and the way the camera is, where is the gaze of the camera,
True.
whom is it on, who is it not on.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one of
It's
the
just
most,
beautiful.
I've encouraged a lot of my friends everywhere to watch it. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
while we are talking of Zoya Akhtar, I think it might be a good way to also talk about, the Made in Heaven season two,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think the character of Dr. Trinetra Haldar was something that was beautifully captured in the words
Yeah.
of I believe, a lot of people from the trans community as well, and also a lot of people who have been talking about what does representation actually means, you know,
Yeah.
and to what extent does that representation help in changing conversations within living rooms and within, like you said, spaces that we are not out yet. What were your thoughts as you watched Meher Chaudhary's character? And would you like to share a bit of that?
I think I'll get a little hate when I say this that season one was better than season two. But yeah, so for me, I think I loved season one. That's why I think everybody loved season one, and hence they were waiting for season two as well. And I love what Zoya and Rima do together. Is when they mix the intersectionality of stuff, right? They mix the rap culture, they mix the Muslim identity of a person, um, a woman struggling to be out and study, but still in a relationship and doing that. I think they really do that well. What happened in season two for me was they wanted to see a lot, and it looked like they wanted to say a lot. That's where I kind of lost them. And being in the DEI space, I feel uh, what is happening is that inclusion or diversity should be woven into the script. When I say script, I'm meaning not into just a series script, but it should be woven into the script of life. When it becomes the talking point, people lose interest in it. Unfortunately, that's how content works. When there's a bombardment of it, you get bored of it. Like for example, a reel that now is a trend, it's going to have its diminishing marginal utility over a period of time, and it has to be smoothly woven into it. I felt somewhere Made in Heaven was pushing it there. But the conversations were important to have, and hence I step back and say that no, they were doing it for the right cause, but maybe could have been betterly put in. Like they did speak about the Dalit wedding, or the whole, the pressure on that. They spoke about the character of Sunil Meher. I just felt that there was a lot to speak in, and I know I know from where a Zoya or a Rima, when they break away from a movie script and they go into a series, they know that they have that long format where they can bring in so many characters, get those arcs. But again, I think they could have done a season, one more season to bring more pieces in. It's like saying, what is it? Uh, what is the one that is it? Like atypical is one
Right.
on a thing, or there is also the sex
Hmm.
education. They want to pick up more lot of topics, but they break it up, and they're like, okay, this can go in season three as well. And I think when the scripting is done, they don't do it for one season; they do it for seasons, multiple
Hmm.
seasons. And I felt maybe it could have taken it. But coming back to Meher's character, I felt the education piece of it, of a trans person, was well woven into it. That okay, this is me as a trans person, how my relationship with a person, and not getting the same acceptance uh, uh, from a cis man, if I have to put it. Um, Also a cis man also dealing with his own friend circle, making fun of it and trying to protect, but not knowing when to. I think I could see the writing really well of that, and I think that I will really respect, and I'll give it to them for that thing. But yeah, I think could have been more entertaining, because people enter into a script or enter into a series to be entertained at the end of the day. Like for me, I would want to leave my work behind and see this and not be taught again, while getting a taught message as well. For me, Jawan, I'm a SRK fan. I know Jawan was, many people won't like it, but I think for me, Shahrukh breaking fourth wall and talking to the audience in that scene, pure love. I'd be like, okay, I know what you want to say. I'm hearing you. I can hear it's not the script writer, it's you. So I think all of these people, they're doing amazing work as Zoya, SRK, all of them. They're trying to tell their stories. Whatever they're doing, I have immense respect for them, and nothing negative in that sense. And I'm too small a player to say that this is bad. Uh, this is my own personal opinions that I keep to myself as a viewer.
However, I do think that the way you are portraying it and putting out this personal opinion also carries weight, because I think it reflects on how perception plays a part. So when I recommend a movie, for example, like Gully Boy, I am making a case for the movie to someone who's not heard of Gully Boy and who wants to know why should they watch if they're not interested in, say, a Hindi, mainstream film. So that's when I bring my personal opinion, that the way they show the inequality playing out, the way they so amazingly capture the emotions of each character, I think that adds the weight to making someone else become part of the experience.
I think one person who gets a lot of hate is Karan Johar, and I don't know why, because the guy really tries hard to make good movies. Okay, and I have loved Maihuna, I have loved K3G as well, and I have loved Rocky and
Wait,
Rani as well.
Mehuna was made by.
Sorry, not Maihuna. I meant
Oh,
what
My
is the
Name is
movie?
Khan.
My Name is
Okay.
Khan. Yeah, my bad. Because My Name is Khan was again talking about religion, was talking about inclusion. He has always done that. With Dostana, he got a lot of beef. They said, Arey, he being himself gay, how can he make fun? But you have to realize that he's running a production house at the end of the day. He has to think about what the cinema gets in back, and how much he's still pushing the envelope further in a period when it was not. I think Dostana came out when it was not even legal, right?
Yeah.
I think it was before Section 377. Means doing it then, yeah, means doing it then, you have to give him the respect that he really deserves. Means I really feel that they speak so badly of him, and he has always pushed the envelope further wherever he can, and also made the most amount of money. So come on, running a production house, getting content. I think we will always speak about a Zoya Akhtar as well, but at the same time, we should speak about a Karan Johar who does in his own filmography has tried something or the other.
I kind of want to come back to Zoya Akhtar for the Made in Heaven bit, because you and I discussed it very briefly about the Dia Mirza episode, about this
Yeah,
polygamy topic that they took.
yeah.
And I remember when I watched it, I just went like, what? That was my first response, that
Yeah,
what? And then I just,
yeah.
because I could not, and I think that episode comes after the Buddhist wedding, if I remember the order
I don't
correctly.
remember, but yeah, but I remember this. I remember that thing. For me, it was just that. Oh my God, these are not how Muslims are. They are not all. They are not all Janab, and they're not all. They're not all Urdu. They don't all have that thing. I know there are many people who are like that, but come on, matlab, Muslims have evolved from not being Mughals. If that is how you want to present it, everybody is not doing that. But maybe I don't know. Maybe I've not visited Lucknow enough. If I have to say that way, maybe I'm not sure. I am not. May need to visit better parts, means the other parts of India more, to see if really this is how. But in my circles that I have been, I have not seen such Muslims. And I think I come from, even like my hometown is Ratnagiri, which is a small town. Plus, my parents, my mother's side actually was in the film scene, so they used to make 70 projectors, and all of this piece, So I have, I've never seen, means in my circles at least, I have not seen. They will wear burqas and all of that stuff, and abayas, and beautiful abayas as such. But this mehel is not something that I had seen in the space. Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Need to visit more north. Yeah,
I'm from North.
yeah. But have you seen Meher? What Lutin's Delhi? What is that? I don't know.
Again, like
Yeah,
it did not speak to me. And again, it's a big budget show. One can understand that they have resources, that they want to show an opulent wedding in every way of, in every episode. One, like, there's one episode that you're dedicating to the idea of Muslimhood, and a woman
yeah.
owning to her, like, standing up for herself, a Muslim woman standing up to herself. But you relegate that to a concept that even the minority of Muslims do not practice in the country as per statistics.
I think means polygamy in my circle. I have not at all seen. I think Muslim men are in such a sense that they are like one wife. We यही संभाल लेंगे हम, and then they, because Islam also dedicates, when it speaks about polygamy also, it says that you should be giving uh, equal time as well to a partner. I don't think people have time nowadays to give, forget equal kitchens and equal houses and equal love and equal money. I don't know how you can calculate that as a metric, or if there is any dashboard that any couple makes. But yeah, I've not seen this. I was totally disconnected from that particular one, because I have seen affluent Muslim families. I come from an upper middle class family. I won't say it's affluent, but I've seen those houses as well, and they are not this, at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think it was just that disconnect, which
yeah,
I was like, what happened here? You know, um,
yeah,
and that was a disappointment. It was just something that,
yeah,
especially knowing that this is the same house that made Gully Boy, it just was
yeah.
like mind numbing.
It was sad for me. Yeah, means for me, Gully Boy will still be my favorite from Zoya. I think, I don't know. I don't think it was a great. It was a blockbuster. I'm not sure about the thing, but I think for me, Gully Boy resonated more. The Muslim representation of lower mm, lower economic group. I felt I have seen that, at least in reality, in somewhere, at least in Mumbai. Living in Mumbai since quite some time, I've seen it. I've seen it in Kurla. I've seen it in Bandra, and it does exist, and it was very well depicted. I think also because they did a lot of research, speaking to, I think, Maisie and uh, Vivian, right?
Yeah.
Divine. So I think that really showed in the writing as well.
Zoya, you've written something, you actually shared something very beautiful about how you met your current romantic partner. It was such a
Yes.
beautiful, even though it was a very short description, it was just so beautifully laid out by you. Could you talk a bit about that, and how has love played a part in your journey?
I think I'll repeat that short story so
Yes,
for the
please. Yes.
audiences so they know it. So I met my partner in my previous company that I was working for. I was into marketing at that point of time totally, and the she was working as the client servicing stock for the creative agency that was onboarded. So when I joined, they were getting on they were getting on a retainer with us. So when I met her in 2016, I just knew her as a person who was the client servicing spot, giving briefs, taking the output of it, and I knew she's somebody who is hardworking and uh, defends her briefs, means her hard work a lot, very committed to the job in that sense. I think that's it. Okay, matlab, this was my understanding of this person. Yeah, something down the line, I think 2018, from 16 to 18, yeah, 2 years. I attend this pride party, and I enter this pride party, and I see. So it's a very crazy party. Okay, I enter this party, and I kind of see my cousin brother at the bar. Okay, my younger cousin brother, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm dressed in my whole thing, and I'm like, and I freak out. Okay, because come on, it's bound to happen. And I freak out, and I kind of go down immediately running, and then I'm like telling my other friend. So this is that. This cross-dressing group, we have gone to the hotel, we've got everybody, all of them ready, we've pushed them out, we've gone to the party, we have entered the party last. Okay, so and that's why I'm trying to enjoy my party after getting all of these people ready, and I'm not able to do it. And I'm just like telling this friend of mine कि यार इतना कैसे खराब दिन हो सकता है, पहले तो लेट हो गए, and then उसके ऊपर ये so this friend of mine tells me, listen, if they're at a post pride party, either they are from the community or either they're not. I said, point to hai. Let's go up. So we go up after a point of time, and I still see that person at the bar, and then I kind of go a little round karke, and then I've gone a little farther away, and then I see this head of hair. And I'm like, this hair I've seen somewhere, okay? And then Komal turns, and I'm like, oh shit, this person again. And then again, I turn and I run the other direction. Because in my head, I'm just like getting saved from this person going here and this person again. And I wanted to go to the washroom, because the washroom was on the other side. And I just couldn't. And I was like, Arey, yaar, how bad can this party get to? How worse is it getting by the day? I'm hoping I'm not meeting my mother here now anymore. That was how it was playing out in my head. Yeah, so that's it. In 2018, I think February is when Mumbai used to have it. So Jan used to be the Pride month, and February used to be this Pride post Pride party. uh, Something like 8 9 months later, I have now started taking over digital as well, and I'm having more interactions with this person. um, One good meeting happened where I really took up the role, and I was very happy with this meeting. And I felt that as a bond from professional, it was just moving to a good space. We were having the chat, and I kind of pinged her on WhatsApp post the meeting, can I ask you something personal? And she replies, yeah. And I say, do you attend Gacy parties? That's it. Okay. And she doesn't respond for quite some time. And I'm like, oh shit, did I ask the wrong question again? My palpitations, my heartbeat is up on its piece. And then she takes quite a long time to respond. And she responds, yes, how do you know? Then I respond, I saw you at one. And from that, we started chatting. Uh, I came up open about my identity. I shared my pics with her. She spoke about it, about her orientation as well. Uh, from there, we went on to meet at say cafes, and a lot of baristas, a lot of cafe coffee days, a lot of Starbucks and other places. Majorly coffee. Okay, if I have to, and we had a lot of conversations about marketing, and because we both were very passionate about our work, whatever we do, and especially about business as well. I consider myself more business oriented, and when we had those conversations, life in general as well. From that, I felt that really, over that coffee, something brewed, and it was much more than just a conversation. It was, and love in some form took place. And then yeah, and then we moved in together in May 2020, right after the 21 days of COVID
Yeah.
lockdown. We were supposed to move in March together, and um, I think COVID hit, and I went to my sister's place because she was still stuck in her place, and we were not able to meet her. Then those 21 days were very difficult, because you both wanted to come back together to each other, and I was still at a place where I was still safe. She wasn't, and because she had almost started to vacate her space and come here, so she it wasn't her right space for her. But then as soon as we got the chance, we moved in. I think COVID really gave us that time to be together. Lockdown really gave us a time to be together, and we kind of. I had never been in a relationship where I have lived in with someone. She has in the past, but for me, it was um, a learning curve for me. And I think as a partner, she's only a person who has pushed me up. And it's been beautiful post that. I've been a better person. Uh, at She's a person who's OCD, so she keeps the house clean. I know how to keep the house in the same space as she does. So it's really worked for us, and I think it's been good from that. I'm just hoping that life can be better and less complex from what it is today, because it is complex. She comes from a family that is Hindu, and I am still Muslim, and we know that. So means at multiple levels we'll be rejected as a couple. Again, intersectionality at its play. The funny thing is, her brother is also someone who is having a partner who's Muslim. So uh, bullshit craziness out there. Uh, we have pushed him ahead to tell his side first, being the elder one. But yeah, it's crazy complexities. So we are doing Ghar Wapsi and conversion, love jihad at the same time. Okay, let's take it that way if that's how it is. Yeah,
Thank you, Zoya. That was such a beautiful ride to just listen to this story. And I must say that I enjoyed listening to the story more than reading it, because I could
yeah,
experience all the emotions as you were sharing. One thing which I think I would want to add is, like, you I think you wrote, you saw a beautiful a head of beautiful curls. You know?
yeah. She has beautiful curls. Yeah, you should see. Have you seen the pic? She has beautiful curly hair. For me, that was very distinct. That was like, "ये देखा हुआ है." And I'll just tell you something so funny. So post me at least starting to date my partner, is when I started telling my colleague a little, and my colleague was like, "Yeah, I know she's a part of the community." So I said, "How do you know? I never knew. And how did you come to know?" So my colleague used to come with me for Gacy parties apparently, and one party, which was a Halloween party, which was in 2017 or something. I was dancing back. My back was facing Komal's back, and we were dancing. And my friend was pulling my hand apart because she didn't want to be bang. She had noticed her, and she didn't want me to bang into her. And this is happening like some 1 year, 2 years later. I'm like, why? How crazy destiny is that, I didn't see her. I have no recollection of this scenario, but after like 3 years I'm dating this person and I'm living in it. So it's just, I don't know how life plays out,
Yeah, it's all
and
when
it's
the
very
stars
weird.
align in a way.
And I'm glad it aligned them. I think I wouldn't have been in the stage that I was at that point of time. I was running behind something different, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's right when it happened, and I'm happy when it happened.
Yeah.
I think Shah Rukh had made this one thing on an AIV podcast. He's like, people ask me that, teen movie nikal rahe hai. Because I think there was Zero, there was, I think, Dear Zindagi coming, there was something else, and there was Raees. And he was like, I'm happy that I have done what I have done, and it's worked out now. And there were many other things at play. And the same thing happens in my life as well. When I look at it, I'm like, a lot of things have played around, and I'm happy where I am right now. I'm happy with what work I am doing. If I tried to do this 2 years back, I don't think I would have been able to get the impact that I'm getting now, because I was not that mature enough. I didn't have that knowledge enough. So yeah, it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Talking about, like, when things happen, kind of when they're meant to happen, so to speak. Um, we are also having this conversation in light of the Supreme Court judgment that came out some time ago. You mentioned earlier that you did not have a lot of hopes from it. Mm. At the same time, I think there was also this sense of Expectation.
Yeah, there were a lot of people were riding on expectations, if that's the right term.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit about that? And yeah, like now we are living in this post Supreme Court judgment time. And so, what are your hopes
Yeah.
for that?
So I'll, I think the expectations were a lot, and the expectations also rose because the conversation around it became more mainstream. Uh, a Supreme Court decision or a case ongoing which is being televised has implications that this conversation becomes a dinner table conversation. And I think because it becoming so, and I will give kudos to all the people who actually drove it, you know, the ones who made the petitioners. I know some of them personally. I know Harish, I know Zainab. I had the chance of meeting Utkarsh as well. So I know that they did it with a right emotion. My expectation from it was low because when I paid attention in my civics class, I knew that the Supreme Court will not be able to do much. They will pass it on to the thing. Even what I think happened with the Nepal judgment was similar. They passed it on to the government to kind of imply. The sad part about it was that they did not give a timeline to it. So I think what they did, whatever Justice, Chief Justice spoke about in the way that I like what Harish wrote once. I think in one of his Instagram or one of his LinkedIn posts, he said it was very good English, and I think it was very well spoken, and I think they really having those things in a judgment as well is a big win. What they could have done better could have been put up a timeline, because we have seen this happen in the past. In 2014, when the Nalsa judgment came out, the Trans Act came out in 2019. 14 to 19, way long, you know. It's about giving a timeline to the government. We know that 2024 में कुछ नहीं होगा, elections आने वाले हैं. Nobody is going to pay attention to this. There is going to be many other things in discussion. The cohort or the segment of people who identify as LGBTQ and who are fighting for it, or at least being equal, is very small for the people to pay attention to it, you know. And that's how it works. I think. Just for me, the sad piece was the timeline. But I will still take. I think I had made a post where had shared Fabrice's blog post on it, and he said that, you know, this still should be seen in a positive light. In that sense, I think you should look at this as one of the wins in the piece that we will surely have in the future. How now we partner with the government, our elected representatives, to get this into the piece is where it will play a part. And I think there's a lot of groundwork that we still need to do.
It makes me wonder, like the groundwork that you say that needs to be laid out. And I think the groundwork is also something that comes from, like, the work is on the allies as well. The
Yeah.
the
How much time will the
Yeah,
petitioners fight? And they are fighting for their rights. Why is nobody else fighting for their
exactly.
rights? It, why is it always a milk Harvey that has to fight and nobody else? Yeah. You need an Abraham Lincoln sometimes to fight for the blacks. You need a Mahatma Gandhi to fight for the blacks. You need a Mahatma Gandhi to fight for his own people. But you need those people to fight for that. I don't think we have much. We have allies, but I don't know if they're as vocal as they should be. I think in when we were doing sensitization sessions, we told that if you have to be an ally, you have to do three things. That is, educate yourself, uh, be visible, and speak up. These three things, if an ally does, that's it. I think the world will be an equal space, irrespective of which community you are being an ally to.
Yeah, these three sort of pillars of allyship
Yeah,
in a way embody the work you do to just be the most honest self. How do you educate yourself? How do you become visible, and then
yeah.
become a vocal ally, a vocal person who can talk
It's
about, again, all the intersectionalities that we are born through. Like,
yeah,
as I think we were discussing this before the recording, that there's so many facets of who one person is, and each of that facet plays a part into making this bigger identity of sorts, right? I want to end on this one question, Zoya, which is, how do you define self acceptance and how do you embody that um, in every space that you choose to be in?
I think I'll go back to my younger self to tell you self acceptance, because that was when I accepted myself. I think something, I don't remember which year also now. It's very dhundla when I started realizing when I think self acceptance is plainly just understanding who you are and knowing where you want to get. Okay, so dysphoria happens when your world and how you perceive yourself and how you are doesn't match, right? In its very pure sense. And euphoria happens when it's equal. I think for me, I've always believed that I'm not dysphoric, but I've been proven wrong many times as well. A recent incident happened where I started crying, unfortunately. I couldn't control my tears, and I was like, why am I not able to control my tears? And then I realized I'm proven wrong at many multiple points. But I think self acceptance comes when you understand this difference, and you have to work towards that piece. It has played out in various places. I, in my current workspace, in with my partner, understanding my relationship with my partner as well was also self acceptance. I had never dated a person who identified as a lesbian, who would see me as a woman. For her as well, it was a piece that was a learn, from understanding that she's only dated women to understanding dating a trans. But at the end of everything was the emotion, right? And that's the most purest form that you can. And I think whether that emotion is negative or positive, that's different, but that emotion is going to stay the most purest piece of it. I think self acceptance is that emotion where you understand, you leave that guilt behind, you leave what this is and this is who you are, in every form. And I'm meaning self acceptance, not just in identity, even self acceptance in terms of when you're not able to do something and you are struggling to do it. It's this emotion of understanding, oh, you need to step back and we need to relook at things. I would put that as the emotion of trying to, getting content with who you are and then progressing the way forward. I don't know if I'm able to word it right, but I have been living my life in this form right now.
You have. I was listening with intent, and I'm grateful that you were able to share this with, talking about something which is so the core of who we are, which is the relationships we choose to be in. And
Yep.
thank you for sharing that. Um,
Thank you.
Zoya, it's been such a fun and unique conversation to have with you.
I wish it was longer though. Now I'm feeling.
I'm very happy about that.
We should have a season two of
I'm
this as
definitely going
well.
to have that at some point as well.
Yeah,
And make
yeah,
this like a two-part conversation at some point.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but this has been great. Thank you so much for your time, Zoya. I know it's a working day for you, so extra thanks for making the time for this. And yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you again in person,
Same here. Hopefully soon.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to them. Also, do check out MBM's other conversation with trans rights activist and associate professor of community medicine, Dr. Aksa Sheikh. You can also listen to other MBM episodes with Annie Zaidi, Sabah Khan, Nasni Rizvi, among others, who bring a diverse understanding of being an Indian, a Muslim, and everything in between. I'm Mariyam Haider. Thank you for listening to Maybe Muslim. I'll be back in a few weeks' time with a new guest. Until then, take care, lots of love and gratitude.